Beginner's mind. People say that playing Melee is difficult, but there is a misunderstanding as to why. Yes, it is difficult to execute tech skill, and yes, it is difficult to learn all the nuances of the game, but ultimately, Melee is difficult because it is hard to keep our mind pure and our play pure in its fundamental sense. There is a concept called beginner's mind. The goal of practice is always to keep our beginner's mind. The beginner's mind is the state of mind that you are in when you are a beginner. There is a seemingly infinite amount of the game to learn, practice, and experiment with. Suppose you perform a combo only once. It might be very well thought out, covered all options, and resulting in taking their stock. As a beginner, you may think about it for a while, ponder what made it so effective, and learn from it. But what happens if you continue to perform it countless times in many sets? You may lose your original attitude towards it, and in your mind, the combo becomes standard, and it risks becoming the only thing you ever considered to do in the situation. The same thing will happen in all aspects of your play. For a while, you may keep your beginner's mind, but if you continue to play for 1, 2, 3 years or more, although you may improve some, you are liable to lose your beginner's mind. In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities. In the expert's mind, there are few. If you discriminate too much, you limit yourself. If you are too demanding or too greedy, your mind is not rich and self-sufficient. If you think, this player has no skill, I shouldn't be losing to them, or that move is so broken, then your attitude is limiting your progress towards a solution to your problem. If we lose our original self-sufficient mind, we lose all precepts. When your mind becomes demanding, when you long for something, you will end up violating your own precepts. Not to become angry or throw your controller, not to become discouraged or distracted from the game, not to worry about defeat. If you suffer from things like this, did these things happen when you were a beginner? In the beginner's mind, there is no thought, I have attained something. All self-centered thoughts limit our vast mind. When we have no thought of achievement, no thought of our own skill level or the skill level of our opponent, we are true beginners. Then we can really learn something. The beginner's mind is one of compassion. When our mind is compassionate, it is boundless. When you have compassion for the game and for your opponent, your mind will become self-sufficient, and you will find it much easier to focus on the game. To have compassion for the game is to understand that the game does not discriminate. It receives inputs and provides outputs. To become frustrated and think things like, how did that grab connect, or why didn't my character do what I wanted, increases the likelihood that you will not discover the answers to these questions. To have compassion for your opponent is to understand that this person has their own aspirations to become a great player just like you. They go home and they practice tech skill on their CRT just like you. They are happy for their victories and sad for their defeats. They have their own world of problems outside of Melee that they can ignore for the time that they are at a tournament. They traveled to the tournament, they paid, and they sat down to play just like you. It doesn't matter what character they picked, or how they play the game. We are all competitors that enjoy Melee. Once we become true to ourselves, in sympathy with everything and everyone in Melee, then we can actually learn and improve. So the most difficult thing in Melee is not the tech skill barrier. It's not the vast amount of knowledge that's out there to learn about. The most difficult thing is always to keep your beginner's mind. There is no need to have a deep understanding of Melee. Even if you study everything about Melee, you must read each sentence with a fresh mind. You should not say, I understand how that works, or I know that matchup. This is the real secret to improving. Always be a beginner. Be very, very careful about this point. The more you play Melee, the more you will appreciate your beginner's mind. It is the secret of Melee.